Alrighty, hey everybody, welcome to NoCoders Office Hours episode 296. I'm your host Cameron. I am here today with Ben, Adam, Alexandria, my apologies, Suchitra, and Tanya. Before we get started, if this is your first time tuning in, we do this 6 times per week where we invite our members onto our Zoom. They can ask us bubble questions, give us feature requests, so on and so forth. Can't promise answers, but we do promise you won't suffer alone, and we get it right most of the time. So let's go ahead and get started. Ben, you were here with something. We're starting with you.
Awesome. So what I'm trying to do is, and I'm sure I've done this on a messaging platform, and I know there's an easy way to do it. So this will be, I'm sure, a quick win. But can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep, cool. So if I go to social feed and then click on iTunes, it brings up that artist's list of songs that they have on iTunes. But when that comes up, I want it to be able to select the first item so that it's not blank. So that actually comes up.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. So you just want the group to the right to show the first item of that list.
On load, yeah.
On load. Okay. Yeah. Well, probably is a couple different ways to do it. I'm thinking that initially what you could do is you could call the same API. Well, you could do, like I said, several things. You could store that API list that you get back in a state and then reference the state's first item. You'd store it all as a list potentially. Another way is using the same API call. So we're calling those items on load. And so we could have 2 states set, one that says, if it's loaded, yes, or if it's then clicked disables the if loaded part. Basically just sort of have it to where you have that conditional. So if that state is true, then it would show that API, again, using the same API calls first item. So a couple different ways that you could potentially approach it. And at the very moment, it looks like we have the page talent details iTunes album ID. And I imagine that is when an item in the repeating group is clicked, it goes to the state.
Sure does.
Okay.
Just check that. It's a while since I did it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm thinking that what you could probably do is have a conditional set up on that group there where you're actually saying, display this information. Where if no group is clicked, what you'll then do is you'll pass in again just that API's list first item. Does that make sense there?
Okay, even though these are being sorted as well?
Are they being sorted? And how are you sorting them? By the release date? Yeah, so you would use the same logic right there. And you would just simply say after sorted by release date, you would just put first item. So you should be able to click the release date and then after that have the option to select that, I think. Yeah, and so this is a list though, so probably wouldn't want to select first item, probably won't work. But at least if we're displaying something singularly, we'd be able to do that. So go ahead and click on that group and let's experiment with something real quick.
This group?
Now the one where we want the data to show up. Yep, and so we can set a conditional. And so we'll just reference the state that we're setting. So we'll say when that state is empty.
What is it? What's the state that I'm using?
No worries.
iTunes album ID. Is empty.
I think it gives us that.
Is empty.
There we go. Cool. And then what we're going to do, we should just be able to change the source or data, type of data maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Scroll down a bit. And so go back to your appearance real quick. So we're going to want to copy all of that. And we're going to want to change. So all from the iframe to the slash. Yeah, and we're gonna want to change, I believe, what the iframes. I think it
It hasn't
says,
been copied to there. Is that right?
yeah, you copy. That's fine. Perfect.
Yeah.
And so HTML. And we're now going to do exactly that. Just paste that information. And then the dynamic data, that's going to be that API call that you're making, that first item. So take that sorted logic that you had. Yep, and then just say first item. And it's saying that we can't do that. And it's the UID. Is that what we're passing in?
We are passing in the iTunes ID.
Okay, and click more. And one of those is going to probably be, I believe, would it be artist ID? Or we're looking at their song, right?
No, it's artist ID.
Okay, cool. Let's try that out. And then we'll just put that closing HTML.
Cool.
They're closing iframe. Yeah, exactly. And yeah. Something like that. Let's hope it works. Fingers crossed.
Nope.
So it still doesn't load. Before you click on anything.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Because we might not be passing in the right ID. It might not be artist ID. But before you do that, go ahead and refresh it. Before you edit anything on the back, refresh it. Take that inspect element. So when you click on iTunes, and so we're looking at that empty spot, just inspect it real quick and see what information we're passing through.
Here?
Yeah, and then click on the iTunes. And now go to the inspect on the bottom right and just hover over that gray group there with the icon. And it doesn't want to be hovered. Just take your mouse and like sort of shake it around there. You may be able to refine it by in the search box right below your mouse, typing in HTML or whichever name the element is.
It's an iframe.
Yeah, but it's still an HTML element, so we should still be able to click on it and look at the logic that we have set on it.
So here?
Yeah, exactly. Is it doesn't seem like it's selected, but it does have that for us to scroll down. And that is the source that we're passing in. That's the conditional at the very top that says that it is correct. So look at the blue text at the top. The other one. Yeah, that guy right there. And so just to confirm, is it after source where we're including the information? AU album BODR. Well, if I had to guess, we're probably going to want to pass in that album ID. And yeah, that's probably the issue. We're passing in the artist ID.
Okay.
So just the last little bit that we added. Yeah, you should be able to switch that.
I'm not getting the album ID. Maybe it's collection ID.
What's the same call, isn't it? Should be.
Yeah.
That's curious.
Because it brings in singles and not just albums, like it brings in everything.
So you have additional calls being made based on other states?
There we go. That worked. It's collection ID.
Ah, gotcha. Perfect. Well, that's how you do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, rock on. We're going to hop on over to Adam. Adam, what do you have for us here?
Kind of, I would hope it's something that's on the easier side. So basically, I'm just trying to make sure that when people type in a username, they're not able to add spaces to it, and that it always stays lowercase. So I'm assuming that's some sort of HTML.
Say that one more time. You just want to have the text typed become lowercase?
be completely lowercase, but also no spaces, like not allow spaces to be typed.
So you will have the lowercase function inside bubble to convert all of the text into lowercase. There is probably a plugin that you're going to want to use. So I've encountered this before. Let me see if I can find that plugin. And natively, I mean, it would probably require some regex, but I believe you should be able to use a input formatter, is what it is named. We're trying to find one that is maintained. I'm seeing one with 19,000 different apps and installs on apps. It says it's not maintained, but I think this is what I had used for the application that I had built. Let me see here. So people are still rating it pretty high. I'm going to put this in the bubble chat or I'm sorry, the Zoom chat. And you can take a look at this. Let me know if this is sort of what you're going after, but you should have the option of just, well, be given more control over the way that the input is formatted. And speaking from experience, I do know that there is a plugin out there that you want, that'll accomplish exactly what you want. But let me see.
So is it this plugin?
Yeah, if you want to look at that plugin real quick. So I'm just taking a look through all the plugins here as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and it looks like it should work.
Yeah, like I said, being that it's depreciated, but there's still 5-star reviews as of just half a year ago. Probably not terrible, but again, probably going to want some to find something that we can guarantee works. Otherwise, the best way to sort of achieve what you want to is a combination of using live text and the input field. So live text basically, what's it called? Instant text is what they call it, but then when you actually draw it on the page, it's live text. So one of the things that you can do, you have this input and you can have your live text. Where would that be hiding? Here. So you were going to assign an ID to your input field. We'll just call that input. We'll call this input. And what we, I'm sorry, we don't want to call this input. We just want to put the ID so it references here. But the idea is that when you type, you're going to assign a regex. Let's see if we can actually do something. Let's see if we can actually get this to work. It's been a second since I've used live text, so we'll see if it actually, my brain's working right now. So we will create a new thing. We will create a new text. We should be able to take it from live text value. I'm thinking right now, I think this is what we want to do. But let's see, do we put the console live text? Okay, so we'll do lowercase. And then we'll do regex, and I believe it should be this for white space. We can double check. So this will get rid of the white space.
And of course, I know that on the back end, you can make a lowercase, but on the front end, I don't want people, do you know what I mean? I don't even want them to be able to type in anything uppercase.
Okay, yeah, visually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I know on the back end, I could have even just done like replace any spaces with nothing, right? But it's for the front end, so people aren't like, why isn't my username capitalized? Like,
so live text doesn't affect it here. We are trying to have it to where when you type, it doesn't allow spaces, and then when you are typing, it automatically converts it to lowercase.
yes.
Yes. So when live text A's value is not empty, we'll change the initial content to live text A's value, which seems a little weird. And this probably might throw an error for circular logic inside bubble, but when this live text value is not empty, we're going to take the initial, well, no, it's not the initial content, it's the actual value that we're passing through. And the only reason that I'm so confident, well, at least approaching this with confidence about using live text and the default like input field, is because I had encountered something and my solution was using these two together. Shit, I'm drawing a blank on whether or not I used that input formatter though. And this was specifically for the Wordle little clone that I had built too, because I wanted to prevent people from being able to type in more than 5 words and spaces and so on in the event that they had access to the keyboard. So I don't think we do anything on the back end like you were saying. We want this strictly on the front end. Let's try this out. We're just do lowercase. So you can see it takes it to lowercase. What this is doing, and then it should spit this back out here. Shoot, that's a really, really good question, Adam. I honestly think that your best bet is going to be using a combination of this with the plugin that I had recommended, the input formatter.
Okay, so can we get something working?
Yeah, we can try. I can't promise you anything, but we can try. Let's see, where would this be hiding? And let's see how this works. So lowercase, custom format. Not sure what that really means, custom format, but let's delete this live text. Just to isolate.
I've got it working if you want.
Oh, you do? Where is it at?
Haha. Go to
I love
296 input watcher in preview.
Gotcha. You use the plugin for this?
Yeah, I used Eli's new plugin, Input Watcher.
What a genius. All right. So we're looking, oh, perfect. Amazing. So Tani got this working by using the plugin. And then we're finding and replacing spaces replaced with nothing, and then turning it into lowercase. And it's this little plugin right here, huh? So we have the value input ID of input. This is appropriately named input. So these two guys are communicating with each other. And then this text is just simply referencing this plugin here, finding this information, getting rid of it, and then making sure that it's lowercase.
That's great. I kind of wanted the lowercase and spaces to not even be able to happen in the first place, though.
Well, I mean, they're going to be typing in, so you just let them see what they're typing in. Like, I don't know how to do it otherwise. Like, I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. It seems simple. It definitely seems simple, but getting it to actually do what you want. That's why I was sort of going on the idea of the other thing there with the live text, so they could like reference each other. But before we move on, I do want to test one thing and just see what happens when we say format. We want it lowercase. And if there's a way to maybe get the spaces to not show up. So I am holding down Shift.
Great.
Cap locks is on. It looks like the custom format that it's referencing is the amount of numbers that go into each area here. So let's get rid of this custom format. Or I suppose if you wanted to have it to where it was 15, characters for a username.
Like that would be the max.
Yeah, something like that. And you could assign this number here.
Yeah.
Now, not letting spaces. Doing that prevents you from doing spaces.
Doing what?
Just having this exist, truly. I have done nothing to it, and I cannot enter any spaces.
Love
So
it.
you think this is exactly what you're looking for.
Okay, and this is in the sandbox, my sandbox, yeah.
Yep, input formatter. So I put that in the Zoom chat. It should work. Now, here's the thing. It does actually say it's depreciated. For what we just did, I think it's going to do exactly what you need it to.
Mhm.
If there's any changes that Bubble makes in the future, I mean, you might run into some kind of problems, but we're banking that doesn't happen. But this plugin does work for your use case.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Sweet. Yeah, no worries. All right, we are going to be moving on to Alexandria. Then we'll hop on to you, Suchitra. Are you there, friend? Alexandria.
Nope.
Doesn't seem like it.
There
Oh,
she is.
okay.
I like walked away at that exact second. How are you guys?
Doing well. How are
Good.
you?
How are you?
Good. So I think this can be simple. Let's hope. Okay. Can you see my screen? So
Yeah.
the challenge that I'm having right now, and I want to see, I know that in the future, I can modify the way they put the pictures in. The challenge is right now we have about 102 hotels that each have about like 5 to like 10 pictures. And so the loading speed takes forever. So if you
Gotcha.
see, it's supposed to load all of the profiles. So I want to know if there's something in the back end that I can do to either, like, without having to re-upload the 102 hotel profiles or pictures and change them out manually. If there's something that I can do to like expedite this load speed, because see, it still hasn't loaded.
I do see that. There
Because
should
in
be.
development it works because there's not as many pictures and content. But then that's like, we're expecting to have ideally like, 10, 15,000 hotels on there.
Yeah, no, that's yep. It starts at the very beginning, like you had said, with the way that you accept images being uploaded. But then we should be able to. I'm thinking use the Imagix. I believe it's what it's called. Image processor
Okay.
that Bubble has. So if you don't mind, I will. Let's see here. It's under fixed hotel search. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have access to this. So we will see together if this works the way that we want it to. The dynamic image is the current sales hotel profile pic. We should be able to do processed with Imagix or whatever that is. And so in terms of quality, obviously we want it to be as great as we can get it. Some decrease in quality isn't gonna, I'd say, break it. Probably, honestly, won't change much, to be completely honest. So doing this is as simple as this is probably your first best bet. Do you mind if I look at your data though on your backend and see what the pictures are? Can I show that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
So we're gonna go to live data. And it is hotels and the images are stored here, right?
So you'll see, yeah, profile pic, but then when you go to like hotel rooms, there's probably 1 or 2 image per data type,
Okay.
category type. So like in hotel, all room inventories, it's gonna have food and beverage is gonna have, meeting space is gonna have.
I see. So we are going to open up these pictures. And if we save it, what I want to do, ultimately, I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I want to see how big this is. So 164 kilobytes for the first one. This is pretty tiny. I can almost assume this is around like 20 or 30. Oops.
And the thing is, since I didn't put specifications when they were uploading them, I didn't think of that. And there's some that are like really professionally edited, like very heavy, and then some that are, you know, not great and even pixelated. So we have like the whole range.
Yeah, this is a very big one. This is a couple hundred megabytes. And so when we're dealing with these ones, these are 11 megabytes. And that is going to impact it pretty significantly. You know, you have somebody downloading 1,000 megabytes. It's about a gigabyte, you know, worth of data just right there. If I'm not mistaken, 1,028, right? That's a gig. Anyway, that is a lot of data. So it really does depend almost entirely on how you upload it and how it's, you know, well, brought into your application more than anything else. I am wondering though, so if I go back to the sandbox, I want to see if we can find maybe something to help us with the way it's displayed apart from the imagix, whatever, however you pronounce that. Oops, that's yours again.
Yeah, we're just gonna call it imagix.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Let's just decide the way we're going to say it. And if we're wrong, then they can correct us, whoever they is.
I like that. So I don't know why that was all caps, but we are looking basically for compressing. We want to compress our images and make them smaller. Now, if I had to guess, a lot of these are on upload. And that's the thing, like basically if we compress it, even if it's like, let's say we find a plugin where we can compress it on the fly, it's still going to be sending and transmitting data. So
Is there anything to like restrict the view, like where it maybe doesn't pull the room images when it's not visible, so it's not taking so long to load? I
Yeah,
guess no, but it's the profile preview, like it's just the profile.
So this is
right now, that it's still taking a really long time to load.
Yeah, so this is where I would recommend using pagination, so that you're only loading a handful of hotels at on any given screen.
Can you say that again? I don't really understand the difference between
Yeah,
that.
so you know how when you're like in Gmail and they only show you 50 messages?
Oh, so
That's
not
the
letting
way
it load all of the images, so just restrict it.
Exactly.
I mean, restrict it to 9, I think, and that would be fine, and then have them.
yeah, and you would set that just with a fixed number of cells on your repeating group. Would be the way that you would do it on this engine.
And then I would just need to add in numbers where they can.
So you would just, and I don't want, if you want, I can revert it. I don't want to ruin, you know, everything that you've built, of course. Just a little bit more, actually. I don't know if like I'm going over a hidden group or anything at the moment.
No, there's nothing on that one.
So something like this should help. And then what you could do is underneath here or above, up top, but typically down below, because that's people are scrolling down, right? You could have this button here and this button here. Or you can just say next in general. And what you'll do is you will do show next of a repeating group. You'll select the repeating group. Fortunately, it knows exactly which one, and you can do a wrap around. So you could just like constantly cycle. And then this is
so like numbers, to add numbers to that. So like there's the next, but then adding numbers where it saves, and I can go back to, for example, page number 3. Yeah, like down there.
Yeah, so you'd be able to draw some text down here, and then I believe the way that you would do it more than you would any other way. So I know that we'd have to use basic math to determine how many pages there are. So we know that there's going to be 9 pages or 9 items on each page. And then we'd basically just reference all of the different listings. So however much divided by 9, that would give us the amount of pages that we'd have. So we'll do that hotel count, and we'll divide this by 9. And I'm actually going to put this in arbitrary text. I'm using arbitrary text really just as a wrapper right here. I feel like you could probably do, oh, it deleted itself. In fact, that's exactly what I want though. Because the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to basically have a count of, on your repeating group, you want to be able to count how many times that you have clicked this button, or how many times you've clicked the next button. And so this is when you start to add custom states to the next button. So you say next, and then we'll set the state of the repeating group, which would be this guy. We'll go count, and it'll be the way that this works. You have to reference the repeating groups count +1. Now, when you're dealing with pagination, you also have to consider subtracting the count when you go backwards. But for at least this example, what I want to show you is how this text would look. So we just reference this repeating groups count, and then we'll put like a delimiter or whatever there, and then paste that expression that we have. And so when we do this in a perfect world, let's see if it wants to do it for us. So we would probably also want to round this. So we hardly have 2 pages basically. And we should set the state of this repeating group on load as 1, because we're always on page 1. Well, at least when we sign in. And then we click next, and it takes us to the next page, and now we're on the second page. And of course, you don't want it to click any further, and you want it to go backwards when you click on it, etc. But
the text there be live to where if they wanted to just click on the number, would they be able to?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Kind of like when you're loading like let's say just like booking.com, for example, or Airbnb, and you like click through.
Oh yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3, and then what if I want to go down to 3 or 7 instead of going back 7 times? I just click the number 7, and then it takes me there.
I mean, you definitely could do it. Do we have? I think. Is there a way?
Why are you storing the number in that state?
To just count on which page that we're on, so it displays. Is there a better way to do it?
Yeah, I think so. Here, I'll go to where you are. You're in her app. I'll prototype it real fast.
So I know we can go to a page in the repeating group.
Right. So I think you have to use like a list of numbers to do a repeating group to show the numbers. And then you can always just go to that page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I do,
You want to share your
fixed
screen?
numbers cells, yep. So if I do fixed number of cells, and I'm gonna go down here and for dummies.
Connie, it's dark. I can't see anything. I'm scared.
You can't see my screen?
No.
That's weird. Hang on, let me try again. Still?
Yeah, still nothing.
Can anybody else see my screen?
It says
No,
that
it says that you're starting to share, but
Oh, okay. So it's just my internet being crazy. Come on, come on.
Yeah, we
says
love
that
our
I'm-
internet service provider.
We have the same one, huh?
Yeah, it's nothing but rainbows and flowers.
Well, I guess if I can't share, then you can share, Cameron. And I can just say what needs to happen. Okay, we can see it. So if you go to the May sandbox,
Yeah.
296 pagination, I'm just playing around. And so, yeah, so essentially you can have your, I will put them on here. So I will put icons at the bottom. Where? And I'll copy it and I'll paste that icon here. So that's like your forward and back. And then you can have, I think the math that you need to do is just to figure out how many pages there are, because I don't think there's like a way to query bubble on that. But this would be take you show previous, this is showing next. And then if you want to have like the list of numbers in between, you would do like a repeating group. And we would make it horizontal. And then we already have, I think I already have the list of numbers here, right? And this is where you do your math to figure out the number. So the start number would be 1. Thank you for keeping up with me, Cameron.
Yeah, gotcha.
The length of the list is going to be this repeating groups. That's a different repeating group. I want repeating group of dummy list of dummies count, and then I would divide that by 9 if I want to show 9, right? So that's good. And if I have more, I'm going to have to do the math here to like handle the remainder or the extra, because I need this to be a whole number. So if it has any extra, it needs to be +1. So, and then the increment would be 1. And then you would just put in your repeating group here. It would be of type number. Then the data source would be the list of numbers. And then in each cell, you can show the number. Have to make it big enough that you can actually see it though. And then I want columns, however many columns we need. It won't let me do.
Oh my goodness, my mouse died. I can't believe it. Hold on.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I was like, wait, Bubble's frozen. Oh no, that's just my mouse. It's been barking at me for like 5 days. Okay, there we go.
So columns here, I don't know, you'd probably say like, I don't know, 5 or something like that. So then each text would be the current cell's number. Then you could put the workflow here would be to element actions, go to page. This would be your repeating group dummy, and the page would be current cell's number. And that's how you'd go to the specific page based on the number that they click.
Okay, can you go back to design? And I just have a question, because when you were doing the list of numbers, is that just a text that I made?
No, so that's from a plugin that I have installed. It's the if you go to plugins, Cameron, it's the toolbox plugin that gives you the list of numbers.
Okay.
Yep.
So I was like, never seen that in Bubble before.
Yeah, it's right down here. Just says listed numbers.
Okay, let me search that. And it's sandbox, you said?
Toolbox.
Oh,
Here, don't want to ruin your app or anything.
Please don't. It's only been about 2 years in the making at this
Yeah,
point. Oh, yeah, that's fine. I can go in and tweak that. Could you help me find the plugin though, Cameron, since you're already in there?
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So just toolbox, and it's this guy right here. And it looks like you already have it actually.
Oh, okay. So let me go back to my design page and see if I can find it.
And then yeah, so on your little plugin selector thing down here, listed numbers.
I'm already, up to date. Okay.
Yeah.
That should. Okay. And then I'll test it with the preview. And then the other thing, but I guess that's like, I can save it for another office hour, is like how to limit the upload of the pictures. And like what would be the ideal weight and size of those pictures. But I can always like throw it in the Slack or something.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are the pictures that are coming in only going to be shown, like all the places they're going to be shown? Have you worked it out so that they're going to be the same aspect ratio everywhere they're shown?
That's a great question. No, because I don't think I've thought of that or implemented
Okay.
that. Should.
Yeah. So that's something I would do. And then I might consider using, I think Adam uses Upload Care for this, and it's sort of built into Upload Care to crop the image to a particular aspect ratio as they're uploading. Just sort of, force is a strong word, but just sort of require that they pick the view of the picture that they're uploading, and then we should just go ahead and crop it at that point.
Okay. And that's just where they go to upload the pictures. I need to swap it out for that plugin.
Right. And if you're not going to use Upload Care, because that's a whole other thing in and of itself, I think you could probably do it with Croppy Extended. So just kind of like put it so that as they're uploading, you sort of like pop up and you show them like what the aspect ratio is that you're going to be using. They can pick the view of the picture that they like best based on that viewer. And then from there, you can crop the picture and then save a compressed version.
Okay. And you said the best one is Croppy Extended because there's Cropper, Image Cropper, and Croppy.
Yep, Croppy Extended is the one that we used last summer for an app.
Yeah, I've used Croppy as well. I know Adam was briefly using it before he went to Upload Care. I think it was more of the aesthetics behind the two, if I can recall correctly. But from our experience, Croppy does work pretty well.
Yeah, Upload Care. Which would be easier, you guys think, to use?
Upload Care is going to be easier, but it's going to be more expensive.
Okay.
Because it requires an Upload Care account, and it's just a little pricey.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I'll do that then. Thank you guys.
Sweet. Yeah, you're welcome. And that leaves us with Suchitra. Suchitra, thanks for waiting so patiently. What are we helping you with today?
Yeah, sometimes whenever I load the page, so I'm getting error called page unresponsive in responsive or tab mode. So something like this I'm getting. What might be the reason for this?
Really good question. Typically this happens when you, or your computer rather, is experiencing basically not enough or too much RAM allocation, which comes down to sort of a hardware issue. It can also be your plugins or extensions that you have enabled on your Chrome can also contribute to this. I got this earlier today when I was deleting something inside an application that was really, really big, and I did not mean to delete it. So my computer said, uh-oh, we can't handle this request, and the page became unresponsive. And so That, in my experience, is the reason why. Typically, because the hardware isn't able to manage. However, there may be another reason that Tanya is aware of that she can provide some insight into.
So the problem is you're just getting. Oh, no, I mean, this is just a normal thing that happens if you're dealing with a lot of workflows and or elements in a single page or in a single reusable. Do you have a like intense single page on your app that you're working from?
Yeah, like we have used reusable element for everything.
You've used reusable elements for everything. So like, but the reusables aren't too heavy. Each one is pretty light.
Yeah, we have few, like this much we have.
Okay. And then do you remember which one you were in when you got that message?
When we are in this page, I mean company call list.
Okay. And how
So-
many workflows are we talking?
So we have around this much.
Yeah, that's a heavier page. That's not the heaviest I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me the element tree? Yeah,
This
can
one?
you just go to the design and go to the element tree? And just, yeah. And then open up that group company call list. All right. So I would check, there are two things I would check. I would just ask, have you restarted your computer recently?
Restarted
Mm-hmm.
like 15 days back.
How long ago? I would consider
15 days
shutting
back.
down your, yeah, I would consider like shutting down your computer, maybe just clearing the cache just for this bubble app. Another trick, if you're not in a position where you can shut down your computer, is to, what was it, that trick that Eli taught Ben and me? It's like you go to your task manager. Here, let me do it real quick and I'll see if I can tell you exactly. Task manager and then nix the GPU process. Don't do that right now because you're on Zoom. And then the other thing is I would just check and make sure you don't have any extensions, Chrome extensions, because you're using Chrome, right?
Yeah.
I would just make sure that you like nix any Chrome extensions if you're not, like if you don't need them or don't use them often, I just nix them because that can interfere as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll check that.
Sorry, Suchita.
Yeah. Thank you. My God.
You're welcome. It's a painful problem, but I've seen it several times, and it's usually has to do with how heavy a page is, like how many reusables or elements is on the page, or in a single reusable. Yeah.
Rock on, rock on. All right. We have a couple more minutes. Adam, do you have anything or anybody else have any questions that they'd like to ask?
At the moment, I'm good.
All right. Going once, going twice. Okie dokie. Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody who tuned in today that received some assistance in office hours. Glad to help. And for anybody that's watching at home, thank you also for, well, everybody's watching, I guess, probably from home, but that isn't live. Thank you for tuning in and watching it with us. You can always join office hours on pronocoders.com by being on the developer membership. Until next time, we're now going to move into after office hours. I'm going to turn off the cameras and go from there. Have a good one.